this stuff. And I've got some items here, and basically, Kristen wanted a topic for me, because she always wants a topic or a buzzword. So my topic is, Kurt's top 10 transition and time-saving tips. So we said that 10 times, that'd be a pretty good tongue twister. I mean, all that is just really a code word for Kurt's show and tell, because this is easy for me to bring my stuff and tell you what I like and what I do. So, Ziploc bag, only one way. Gosh, I'm nervous. I'm nervous. I'm rushed. I'm just going to throw around some stuff, and this is clean. But a lot of times people ask me about gear and stuff like that. So I'll give you guys a look at this stuff. I mean, this is a singlet that I wear. It's tight. It fits underneath my wetsuit and so forth. It does give you some protection from the sun rays and so forth. But depending on the race, I mean, this is normally what I'd wear. And it's got some side pockets that I can put some nutrition or sunblock or whatever that is. So that's just one of the tops that I wear. Pretty universal for men and women. So just start that around the room. Bike shorts and tri-shorts. So got a pair of bike shorts. Basically, there's just a big padded protection more in the seat and the groin area and so forth like that. The tri-shorts, basically the same thing. Fits snug and tight, so you can wear it underneath your wetsuit. And then this is something you can swim, bike, and run in. It's a little more protective for the sun, because it's not like some smaller piece of equipment that women would use, like a bathing suit. But also, it keeps around your legs and keeps some compression around your legs. So that's going to help to keep your muscles a little fresher, a little warmer, not so susceptible to injury. So, and basically the difference there is the pad. So, toss those around, look at those. So, beginning my presentation, and this is the top 10 tips of time saving for triathlon transitions. So, this is what kind of my normal transition would look like. And I'll go through the process of what I do and how I do things. But this is kind of where all the action takes place. You do the swim, and you come back to the transition. You get on your bike, you do the bike, you come back to the transition. You do the run, and you come back, not the transition, but the finish line. But all the action and all the hype and all that stuff is in the transition. That's where that's that fourth element, or that fourth discipline, that you'll see where you can save a small amount of time, and you can rid yourself of some anxieties with the tips that I give you today. So, the first thing that I do when I come to a race is I remind myself good karma. And the reason why I remind myself good karma is because there's a lot of personalities out there. And it's race day, so those personalities change on race day. And there's some type A's out there, and then there's some real nervous Nellies out there. And one of the things that I always do when I come to a race, when I'm racking my bike in the transition area, because that's my own little area, I almost always say to the person next to me, hey, is this okay? Do you have enough space? It doesn't matter who they are, it doesn't matter if they're an elite racer or not, they're going to answer you, and that's going to alleviate the tension right there. And they're going to say, yeah, there's space there, oh, I've got plenty of space. So I do that almost first off the bat. The second thing is for good karma. Just think about when you're racing or when you're doing anything, whether you're working or racing or being a mom or whatever. Try to practice good karma. So another thing is I do in the swim, and whenever anybody touches me, the natural reaction is to grab. And I notice in the swim especially, people are nervous, people are swimming, but when I reach to grab, when I'm in the swim, I reach and I grab the water. And so when I'm out there and I feel somebody next to me or in front of me, I mean, my natural thing, if I touch, I just want to grab. And so try to remember good karma, not to grab somebody's shoulder or ankle, because what's going to happen is you're going to be in front of somebody, and someone's going to grab your ankle or something like that. So practice good karma. Those are the 2 ways that I know that I have to remind myself during the race. The next thing is pre-race. Unlike today, do what I say, not what I do, but come early and get the lay of the land. And there's certain things that you want to do when you come to a triathlon, and I've got them on my list. Is when I say get lay of the land, is you want to visually get in your mind what you're doing from point to point to point to point. Things that I always want to know exactly where they are the entry and exit point of the transition zone. And then beyond that is I want to know where the dismount and mount line is. So just to get those in my head, and then I figure out where my bike is in that transition area. And then I just work on that. I work it out and I go through that several times just to get the lay of the land. So let's talk about the transition area. Entry and exit points. You're going to figure that out pretty easily, but you need to know where that is just to get your mind in the right time set. Then where your bike is in that transition area. Just like this is a row of tables, and pretend that these chairs are bikes. I mean, they all look pretty uniform now, but then picture 20 people putting their different hats and helmets and bikes. Now all of a sudden you've got clutter and you've got lots of color. So what I do to get the lay of the land is I use an orange towel for my transition area. That marks my spot. So when I'm running and stuff like that, because I usually run, you look for stuff, and when my head's down, running through the transition racks, just like if I was running through this row of tables, is I'd be looking on the ground for orange, and I know when I see orange, that's my stuff. The other thing that I do is I try to get a marking of some sort. I mean, sometimes simple math doesn't work when you're racing. So if my bike is racked right here where this lady is in the black, I mean, I might be able to remember 2. 1, 2, second rack. So when I come running in from the swim, and this is the row that I'm running down, and these are the racks of bike, maybe I can remember 2. 1, 2. Then my bike. Look for the orange towel. If it's not that easy, because sometimes there's 12 or maybe 100 racks, look for if there's a flag on the outside of the transition zone or on the racks. Look for something like that you can key off to see. Or look, there would be a number on the rack many times, like 1 through 50, 51 through 100. Remember that number, and that's the only number you need to remember, and then you make a decision at that point. So that's kind of the stuff, my key points with the transition area that I try to get in my head well before the race. The other thing is the dismount line. So in my races, mine are pretty obvious. I use what color tape to mark the dismount line. What's my favorite color? Orange. So you're going to see an orange piece of tape on the ground outside of the transition area. And what that indicates is that is where you can mount your bike. You need to cross that line and mount your bike there. And then you need to dismount that before you cross that line when you come in the transition area. This is one of my top 10 hints. It's natural instinct to, as soon as you see that line, is to cross it and mount your bike. Just from years of experience, I would suggest to go beyond that dismount line. So if the dismount line is right here, I'd go beyond that mountain line like 5 or 10 feet, a couple, 3 steps or something like that. When you do that, you can mount your bike and get on it right away. It's pretty obvious. But what happens if you would mount that bike right after the dismount line, just think of the people coming out behind you. There's chances they're not looking, they're looking to, who knows what they're looking at. Somebody yells up, "Hey honey," they're going to run right in the, I'm sure that never happens to you. So they'll run right in the back of you, cause problems there. The other thing, let's say you do mount right after that dismount line. When you're ready to go, somebody else is going to be right in front of you, and you're going to run back them, or you're going to have to negotiate around them. So I love that tip. Go beyond the dismount line, get on your bike, and go away. You're going to ease yourself of running into people or people running in the back of you. Okay. Transition area. Also, there are some things in the transition area that I use on my pre-setup, and I love this stuff. Sports Look. Found this thing 12, 13 years ago. I'll just tell you the reason why I like it. I mean, it's got great stuff inside it: vitamin E, vitamin C, stuff like that. So probably not vitamin C, but it's got the good stuff for healing purposes. I don't know if you ever saw that big fat Greek wedding. The guy at the wedding. Windex, everything's a cure-all. Windex a cure-all. Squeaky screw, you got to cut, Windex. This is my cure-all. Make friction your friend. So it's got good properties in it, so it will cure stuff like cuts and rashes well, or better than most that I've ever seen. And then the other thing is it's kind of, if you don't leave it sit in the sun, it's kind of consistent and kind of sticky. So where you put that on your body or on your race outfit or your it will kind of stay in that area. And it's not water soluble, so it'll stay on there until you actually wash it off with soap or shampoo. So that's the reason why I like it. Some of these other lotions you have, they dissipate a little bit too quickly, a little too runny. This is the reason. That's one of the reasons why I like it, other than the properties in it. The other trick is, like I said, make friction your friend, because if it's not, it'll haunt you for 3 or 4 days after the race with blister or sore or whatever. So another one of my tricks is I turn my socks inside out, and I will put the sports slick on the ball of my feet, and let's say I've got a toenail or something because of the new shoes, you know, I'll put it on top. I'll put it wherever I know that I want to have that friction on. So turn it inside out. Guess what? Then I take it, I turn it right side in, and I stick that in my bicycle shoe, tuck it in there. It's out enough so I can grab onto it. So when I come out of the swim and do my transition, I'll grab this by the my little fringe here, I'll pull this on, and guess what? That sports slick is in the right spot. And guess what? If it's not, it's going to work its way around, because I'm going to go bike for 10 or 12 or 30 or maybe even 112 miles. By the time I get to the run, that sock is still on my foot. I'm going to transition into my running shoes, and then it's all good. I shouldn't have any blister problems anywhere, knock on wood. So there's another top 10 hit secret. I use, for my wetsuit, I mean, let's break this down. Wetsuits are made out of rubber and plastic and so forth. They'll tell you not to put, use approved, lotion or, their approved stuff for their friction fighter or the rubber. I mean, I use Crisco. I use Crisco on my, calves and my ankles. So when I get that wetsuit off, it'll slip right off. Like I was saying, it's rubber. I mean, I've had one for 12 years. They're indestructible. Just wash it out with some soap and water when you get in the shower. Let it hang and dry so the mold doesn't get to it. I mean, use whatever you want. Crisco, I like it because I can spray it on there. It'll spray on around my knees, spray it on my ankles, and it'll help you get that suit off. So those are my 2 friction fighter points. The next thing is, you get your bike in there the day before and set it up, and you come back race day, and you're setting up your inventory of items that you're going to use that day, and you're checking your list 3 times. Get in there, set your stuff up, and just leave the transition area. That's where all the mojo and all the excitement is. And I'll tell you why you want to leave the transition area. It's where all the nervous energy is, and I don't know if women do this, chances are they probably do. You will start looking at women's calves, because that's where their age is on there. You'll start looking at women's shoulders. I know that's for a fact, because when Ann was here, you guys said, hey, how can I get shoulders like that, or how can I get arms like that? You're going to start sizing yourself up to the other athletes there. And then the other thing is you're going to start saying, you're going to have to start selling self-doubt. What am I doing? This is the stupidest thing in the world. I'm married to a loving husband. I've got wonderful kids. Why am I putting myself through this? You're going to have some self-doubt. And it is, because that transition zone is as magical as it is and as fun as it is a nervous ball of energy. Get the heck away from it. And I don't know what you do. Go put your toes in the lake. That'll bring your senses right out. Focus you in there. But just walk away from the transit and talk to your friend, talk to your girlfriend. Go put your toes in the sand. Just go walk away and say a prayer. Whatever your ritual is, that's just a nervous ball of energy, and the longer you stay there, you're going to start thinking about negative things, or do I have enough stuff there, or whatever you think about. I mean, here's one personal story. So, and this is the rule that I actually follow. So I did Ironman last year, and I read this and heard it, and I believe in it. I never went to the race site the day before the race. I stayed as far away as I possibly could from that transition. My bike was there. I missed it. It missed me. I knew I was going to come back to it, but I did not go to the race site the day before, 24 hours before. And it kept my mind at ease. I ate popcorn. I hung out with my friends. I watched a soccer game, whatever. So the next thing. So now we're all done with the transition area. The swim. A couple tips I got here on the swim is I use Aquasphere goggles, and the reason why I like these Aquasphere goggles is they got a wide field of vision, and so when you're in the water and you have your head out, I mean, and you're swimming, you've got this much room to see what's in front of you, what's on the side of you, the shore, etc. These give you a bigger field of vision, so I like them. The other thing I like about these goggles is they got a wide rubber thing that molds your face. It's just bigger than most I've seen. So I like Aquasphere. Gives you a better field of sight. They're comfortable on me. I like them. There's another smaller pair. If you don't like that big pair, there's another smaller pair that is a little smaller, but they have the same principle. They got a big suction cup. They're pretty comfortable on the face and so forth. I'm going to toss these around here so you can see them as well. Hello. The other rule, and this is one of my secrets, is I got the 2-touch rule for the swim. So as you swim, I mean, you're gonna sense yourself getting close to that finish line for whatever reason. Because you're gonna sight, you're gonna see people, you're gonna start hearing cheers, etc. So you're gonna know you're gonna get close to that finish line and the exit point. So what I do is when I'm swimming, I just try to swim as far as I can until I get the 2-touch rule. So it's touch with left hand, I do another stroke, I touch with another hand. If I touch the bound with my 2-touch rule, I know that I'm in this deep of water, and at that point, I can get up and start walking. You will see people bobbing and walking and kind of doing one of these things, like walk in and one of these things. That is not good. That's going to waste energy, and it's not going to get you to the finish line any faster. So when you see that going on, remember what I said, 2-touch rule. If you touch seaweed there and seaweed there, no, oh, I touch sand there, I touch sand there, 2-touch rule, hop up, you know the water's going to be waist deep. At that point, you're going to walk, because you're going to take off your swim cap, or you're going to take off your swim goggles, and you're going to strap them to your head, and then you're going to start undoing your wetsuit. But you're going to walk, because when you go from a horizontal position, your blood flow is doing horizontal things, for lack of better words, and then when you start vertical, your blood is not on your brain and thinking you'll be a little lightheaded if you start moving too fast. So let your body come to a vertical position. Get your goggles off so you can see where you're going and what you're doing. And then that's when you walk through the water. Because remember, it's waist deep. Start peeling your wetsuit off, trying to find the zipper. Walk. Once you get that zipper, that wetsuit down to your waist, that's the point in time that you can tell your brain what to do. That's right. I'm in the second bike rack. It's 51 to 100. It's by the orange flag. I'm looking for my name. That's when you can run to the transition zone and focus on that task at hand. Then when you get to the transition zone in your spot, then you can start getting out of your wetsuit your normal way and getting on with the process. But the 2-touch rule is key. You're going to save yourself time and energy, and you're not going to be bobbing and so forth. But that's a great rule of mine. The next thing. So now you transition, and now you're on your bike. Before the race, this would be like one of my pre-race tips, but before the race, some of these transition zones, when you exit the bike and you mount your bike, you'll notice, sometimes there's a flat surface and that goes on out of the park and it goes on for miles like that. Well, you should set your bike up so that that's the appropriate gear for you. So since it's a flat surface, you can probably put it a little bit more tension than you normally would, so actually when you get on your bike and start pedaling, it's not too easy. There's some resistance on there so you don't spin out. But you're in the right gear, so you mount your bike, you start going, and you're like, okay, now I can get in my rhythm and my zone. What you don't want to do is put it in too big a gear or too small a gear, so when you do mount your bike, that you're wobbly and all of a sudden you're paying attention to that instead of what's in front of you. So put your bike in the right gear. And the only way you'll know that is if you go out and maybe ride your bike before the race a little bit, and you kind of think about that. Oh, there's a hill, well then I need to put it in a small gear so that when I do get to that hill, 100 feet or 300 feet later, that at least I'm prepared to get up that hill and I'm not going to crunch myself and fall over because I'm in a bigger gear. The next one is some of the items in your transition area. Is my water bottle rule. So I've got a clear water bottle rule and I've got a colored water bottle rule. Clear water bottle always has water on it. Colored water bottle has nutrition in it. It says One of my other tricks is when you get out of the swim, if you keep a water bottle in your transition area and it's clear, you know there's water in it. So if there's sand on your feet, it's the quickest way to get sand off your ankles and your feet. Just squirt, 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 you know, wipe, wipe, and you're ready to go to put your socks on and so forth. Opposed to that, the nutrition, the color bottle, you have nutrition in it, so that if you want something like nutrition like Gatorade or Cytomax or orange juice or whatever you have in your bottle, then you know that that's that. So you don't take that and squirt it like this on your back because you're hot before you go out for the run. So that is the dead dumb rule that I have for water bottles. Clear, color. The other thing for nutrition is in my transition area, I'll usually have a couple different things in my transition, and it just all depends on, because that's where I actually have time to think about the next stage and what I need. So sometimes I'll just have water there, and I'll just grab a water bottle and I'll run out of the run with the water bottle because that's what I want. Sometimes I don't want anything. Sometimes I feel like I need something in my gut, so I'll eat something like something solid, like a bite of a power bar or a bite of a nutrition stick or whatever. Or maybe you have an apple, maybe you have an orange, and that's all good. Maybe you want something solid in your gut. Maybe you don't. Maybe you just want to grab something like, you know, something gel that's quick energy that you can shoot down and follow with some water. Or maybe you just want to grab one of these and put it in your little side pocket for the run because you know you might need something on the run, and then you can take it right before you come to the water station and then chug it down with some water. So nutrition is something I have in my transition zone. Sometimes I take it, sometimes I don't. But that's a good place for it. The next thing in the terms of process is the run. Once again, I think body glide the socks is key. The other things that I use are like a race belt and yanks. So this is a race belt. It's just got a simple clip on it, so it goes around your waist. And then the other thing is, you can see these in my shoes, that they're yanks. Most of the bike shops, well, the two bike shops that sponsor us, the Bikeway and the Trek store, should have all this stuff I'm talking about. Yanks and sports slip and race belts. So the key thing with these yanks is that you don't have to lace up your shoes. So right there it saves you 30 seconds or a minute to lace up your shoes. They're very strong, they're very durable, so you can cinch them. You can cinch your shoe up very tight with them, and you can and so they will give stability, I guess is what I'm trying to say. That they are snug enough, like a shoelace if you tie. The other thing is that they're all springy, so you can you'll be able to hold it and get your foot in really quickly and get out of the transitions area. It's just a time-saving tip. The other thing with the race belt, a lot of times, they don't require you to have your race number on until the run. So it's just easy for you to stack the stuff in the way you're going to use it. Put your shoes on, put your sunglasses on, and what I usually do is I grab these two things as I'm running out of the transition zone, because I don't want to waste any time. So I grab these things, I'm running out of the transition zone, and then it gives me something to do that first 2 or 3 minutes while my legs are warming up and I'm starting to run. I'll put my cap on, that's all good. As I'm running, I'll just run. I'll take this and I'll either throw it over my shoulder and kind of slick it on that way, or I'll just run with it, and then as I'm running, I'll put it around my waist, get it where I need it, start running, and then as I come down to the finish line, I can turn it to the front so they can see my number, they know that Kurt Beisch is going to finish, and they're going to hopefully yell my name out, etc. So these are some devices that really save some time and make things, I don't know, just that much more efficient in the transition area. And those are pretty reasonable things. They're both less than $10. The thing on the bill, on the cap, I mean, all caps aren't the same. Maybe you wear them, maybe you don't. But the ones that are really good are the ones that have a black bill underneath these. Some people might not realize that, but if you have a black bill, that will kind of catch and keep the sun rays, so when sun bounces off the ground, it'll kind of catch and keep it. It won't reflect it into your eyes. So sometimes I'll run with a cap without my sunglasses, and then if I pull it down, when something glares off that, it won't bounce off this and make it brighter. I know it's kind of a simple, stupid thing, but it's been proven that these will help keep your focus and help keep your brightness out of your eyes. So that's kind of a tip on the baseball caps. The last thing, visual imagery. And this isn't really a pre-race, this is kind of pre-race thing, it's not really a race day thing. But like pre-race, you know, maybe the night before, or maybe when you're Thursday night, you're out and you're grilling out. I mean, I just like to close my eyes and visually think what I'm going to do that next day. So I'll visually think about the swim. Okay, I get there, it's a crowd of people there. I'm going to swim through the crowd of people. I'm not going to grab people's ankles. I'm not going to grab people's shoulders. And when I get my rhythm, I'm going to go long and strong. And I'm going to visualize myself swimming long and strong in that water, sighting every once in a while, and just getting into motion. So I'm going to visually remember that and try to get that in my mind that that's how that race is going to go. I visually think about transitioning and how I have a process to do stuff. When I come in off the swim, I go top to bottom, and then I've got my stuff there, and I go from bottom to top with my bicycle shoes, my socks, my bicycle shoes, all the way up, my sunglasses and my helmet. And then I visually think about myself going to that transition zone and mounting my bike and doing the bike ride, getting in a rhythm. Coming back in the transition zone, I visually see that dismount line. I practice, I see my hands on my handlebars and dismounting nice and smoothly, walking my bike, and then running my bike across that dismount line into the transition zone, racking my bike, taking my stuff off from my head to my toes, and then from my toes to my head, and then running out of the transition zone and getting into a smooth pace and a smooth gait on that run. And then I picture myself at the turnaround of the run and coming home and how good it's going to be and how I'm going to be getting close to that barn. And it's going to be fun. And I visualize that finish line and come across that finish line with the spectators there and how fun it is and how happy I am. And I visually think about that, the race, and I practice those in my head to keep myself mentally ready for the race. Now it's been proven that if you can have visual imagery while you train and while you exercise, it'll make your performance better. And so I practice that routinely, especially before races. So my last point is have fun and remember the race, because I truly think it's the greatest sport in the world. And that's all I really have. Hopefully. And I'm available for questions. I know I ran through a lot of stuff, but that's kind of my top 10 tips if you didn't catch them. They're on a piece of paper.
Question. So it's okay to wear that stuff under your wetsuit? I mean, and when you take it off, then are you all wet? I mean, because don't you get wet through your wetsuit?
Yes and no.
So then it's
yes
off
and
your,
yes.
yeah.
So yeah, so I know we have different body parts, but essentially we want the same thing. We want to fight friction, wherever that friction may be, underneath the armpits, on the chest, in the groin, all that stuff. So, and you want something that fits pretty tight, because once you get a singlet on or a sports bra on or whatever you wear under that, you're going to sweat in that wetsuit, so you're going to get wet. And then there's also water's going to get in there just from the collar and from the ankles like that. So you're going to be wet. And the reason why you want kind of tight fitting is when you pull that wetsuit off, I mean, it is snug on there, or it should be fairly snug, and you don't want to pull your clothes off. And then the other reason is that you want to be able to race in as few pieces as possible. If you want to throw padded shorts on for the bike ride, go for it. But you need to have something underneath those shorts that you can keep on the entire time. The shorter distance races and the races that I put on, we don't have like a changing room where you can take your clothes off, get totally naked, and put another clothes on. We don't have that. The longer distance races do, the Ironman races do. Does that help? And you can buy those. I mean, there's a lot of things that are unisex that you can buy them at the Bikeway, and I know they have women's tri-shorts and singlets and tops like that, and then also at the Trek store in Midtown and in William. So.
What if you just wear your swimsuit and you just put your clothes right over it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've seen I mean, you look at elites and you look at age groupers. I mean, I've seen girls, you know, race in a one-piece bathing suit, and they'll liking it. And you know, if you can practice it and it doesn't bother you in terms of some of those things that I said earlier, you can just wear that one piece of clothing. But if you want to, yeah, put on shorts or put on extra padding, go for it. There's going to be a couple more questions out there. Yes?
What about wearing socks with your shoes in the shorter distances? Have you ever tried it without socks? Just save time.
I have not. I've not. I mean, because I've done stuff without like using sports slick and trying to go with fewer clothes on and things like that. And I found that you know, the after effects and so forth. It's just you're going to beat yourself up with a blister or with a really super bad sunburn on part of your body that's not used to sun because you train with, you know, a top on and a single on. You train with sports slick and things like that. And then when it comes to race day, you change that. There's just too much risk of sunburn and, you know, friction fighter problems. So I never have. I know people have. I think if you build up tolerance to, you know, calluses on your shoes and you wear the same shoes and so forth, and they're all broken in. Yeah, I've seen hundreds of people race the shorter distances without. It's one of those things you need to practice, I think. There's going to be a question in the front row here or the second row there. Any questions? Okay, so any questions about, so I'll keep talking. So I got two things I was going to bring up is we start open water swims. So tonight is the first open water swim. You need to sign up online. If you don't sign up online, we're going to charge you the day up. But open water swims is a great way to go to the lake that you're going to swim in, the same venue, and we're going to put buoys out there, and it's going to be pretty much the same course. So that's going to alleviate a lot of anxieties and a lot of questions and so forth, and you're going to get the lay of the land, like I said. So open water swims are open, and then we also have some other, you know, instructional swims at the Jewish Community Center. It's a 50-meter pool, so either Al or I will be out there, and we'll, you know, coach you and give you some instruction on swim stroke and swim technique. Also in the open water swims, I have a pro, and honest to gosh, probably one of the best pro male swimmers currently. I mean, if you think Lance Armstrong is good on the bike, okay, maybe you don't, but let's say you thought that Lance Armstrong was a good biker. This is the equivalent of Lance Armstrong. And I tell you the person's name, but I'm going to try to, you know, spur some interest and get some giveaways for people to try to guess it. So he has come out of the water first in several events, you know, short distances as well as Ironman distances.
And his name's not Kurt.
No, his name's not Kurt. I mean, I wish it was. Thank you, though. So that's one thing. And then wine and cheese. So Friday the 25th of May, there's a wine and cheese party at the Trek store at 72nd Street. So come there. There's going to be discounts on all the, you know, all your last minute equipment that you want, or nutrition, or what have you. Or just come, you know, even if you're not racing, come and ask questions and get together with some of your friends and stuff like that. So open to everybody. Last minute items. Come and meet some other people. So wine and cheese, sponsored by Trek Store of Omaha and RaceOmaha. So that'd be kind of a fun event too. Something different.
I have a question. You said that you set your bike up, and that's the same area that you transition before you run as well.
Yes.
It's all in one spot.
Yeah. So the two races that I put on, you'll have so you'll get a set of stickers when you check in, and you'll get stickers for your bike helmet, a little sticker. You'll get a race number that you'll need to wear on your run, and then you'll also get a bike number that will go around the you know, some part of your bike, your down tube or your seat tube, and all those numbers will match up with your bicycle rack. There'll be a number on the bicycle rack, so you're required to rack your bike at that area with the seat first and front tire down, and then, you know, depending on how your other people are in that rack, you're either on the left side or the right side of your rack, and that is your little area. And yes, you need to take your bike from there and put your bike back there. So, absolutely.
Do you put your bike shoes on your bike, or do you have them off the bike when you start?
Loaded question. I usually keep my shoes. I usually keep off, and then I do it because I put my socks in there, and I put my socks in there so they don't get dirty or wet. So I do that for that reason. And then when I put them on, is sometimes the transition area is pretty far, and sometimes the transition area is got some uneven surfaces and so forth. So it's easier for me to run my bike shoes and feel more comfortable that way than to the point where I get to the dismount line and mount my bike. Now, the reverse of that, sometimes I will take my foot out of my bike shoe, and I will ride with my foot on top of my bike shoe up until the dismount line, pop off, and my shoes will be connected to my bike, run it on my bike, and do it that way. But normally I'll do it both the same way. I'll keep my shoes off, put my shoes on, and then I can run with them, and then I'll dismount the same way. Then I can run through the transition zone quickly, or more quickly than if I didn't have. And then I don't risk cutting my foot. So that's the way I like to do it.
And you dry your feet off before I'm thinking wet and socks and not wanting to get.
Yeah. So
things don't like to get on when you're wet.
I will have a transition towel on my transition zone, and I'll set my transition zone up very much like this. These are my bike shoes, and I'll put it in the sequence that I'm going to use the stuff. And at the bottom of it, if this is my towel, I will leave a space here that I can stand. So, like I said, if it's sandy and I need to grab a bottle and squirt my shoes off, then I'll do that, and then I can wipe my feet as best I can. And then I guess that's as dry as I can possibly get my feet at that point in time. So then I do put my socks on at that point, and then go from there. You're never going to be 100% dry unless you actually stop and sit down and wipe your feet off. And you can do that as long as you kind of keep your stuff in your own space, because once again, good karma. You don't want to trip somebody going out of transition zone. So I leave a little space at the end of my towel so I can wipe my feet and stand there while I'm transitioning. And I've got a good clean spot there.
And then, are you allowed to wear like aqua shoes on your feet when you do some of these races, or do you have to be barefoot?
My races, I know that there's some. You can't use any devices that's going to improve your
Obviously, flippers.
like flippers or whatever. But like I've seen some people use some aqua shoes, or and they'll swim in them, and yeah, they can do that. I'm not going to penalize them or anything like that. And then the other thing I've seen is people will put flip flops or Crocs, something like that. Like if we are exiting the swim right here, and I've seen people put them off to the side, so when they exit the swim, they can just put those on and they can hustle through the transition zone. I have no problem with that. Just keep them out of the way so they don't impede with any other racers. So. And I've seen that at some longer distance when there's, thousands of feet between the swim and the transition area, or maybe a quarter of a mile.